Well, my name is Alvin Cumberbatch. I am a producer. My stage name is Kalipso Btz. That's spelled BTZ. And I also dibble and dabble in video. Um, when I was a child, my father, he's a plumber, and he used to have tools all around and all the time. So I used to mess with his tools and play around and never ever put them back. And I started opening up things, little electronics around the house, little electronics and radios and tape players and things. And I just got really interested into sound and what produced sound and how sound was produced and how it was made. So from there, I just took off and I got my first keyboard, and from my first keyboard, my first program and my first computer. And that was it. That's what basically inspired me to start doing music and getting into the art of creating music. In my childhood days, in my boy days, I remember me being, because I was the only child between my parents, right? I have other siblings, but I was kind of always by myself, all the time. So I had the time to just dig into things and be inquisitive and curious and open up things. And I was really like the first, I think, out of the group of kids that I used to hang around that really got really deep into like sound. I mean, there were other kids, but they were older, so they had like DJ setups and turntables and mixes, but I really didn't have any of that. I just had like tape recorders and maybe my parents' stereo in the house, and that was it. But I would invite them over sometimes, and when I invited them over, we would listen to music, we would share music. This is in like the 90s, so tapes was still like, in full effect. So yeah, we would share music and listen to each other's tapes and overdub each other's tapes and put the little foil inside so that you could tape over like industry tapes that you will buy from like record stores or whatever. And that's how I kind of got into doing that with my friends and actually shared that. I think I actually shared that more so with my friends than anything else. Like playing basketball, that would be the thing that I felt like I shared. Technology and sound, technology and science. It taught me, I believe that it taught me how to be resourceful, how to be able to find a way to use whatever you have around you to get whatever results you're trying to you're trying to achieve. Little tape players. I used to have little CD players, old school computers with like Windows 3.1 on it and things like that. It just really taught me to be resourceful, and through being resourceful opened up my creative mind, and it taught me a lot about creativity and what it was and what it is to be a creator. I think the importance of being a creator is it's just important. There has to be someone around creating or developing new things or creating, ideas and sketches and drawings and sounds and, video and all these different things. It's important to life. It's important to society. It's important to technology. It's very important even to understanding ourselves. One of my dreams is to just be free. That's my major thing, is to be free. Free from a punching clock, free from lunch breaks, coffee breaks, and free from a paycheck. But I think one of my aspirations is to just be successful within music and science and technology. It's like very, very important for me to aspire to be just great and a success at those things and be a wonderful producer, somebody that people will remember, and we'll be in conversations of who do you think was the best producer in such and such a time, you know? Well, as we all know, technology is technical knowledge. So this is what we're using down here on planet Earth to create whatever we want to create, because creation really comes from spirituality. It comes from inside of your mind. It comes from in your heart. And it's something that comes from God, you know what I mean? So the things that we use down here to create these things, and the more technology that we have, and the more knowledge that we have, we can create better things and create more spiritual things, things that we couldn't create before. Just the curiosity of it all. I'm always running into problems with computers and hard drives and drum machines and keyboards, and always trying to figure out those problems. One of the things of being a producer slash engineer slash like mixing engineer is that your whole duty or your whole job is to solve problems continuously. So I enjoy that. Even though when I do run into those problems, I get a little bit frustrated, but when I resolve those problems, I feel like a god. Yeah, it definitely has influenced me to really relax myself and breathe and not panic so much. Because if I know that every problem has an answer, right? There's an answer to every problem. It's just a matter of time where I'm just gonna come up on that answer if I keep trying hard enough. Well, one of my favorite artists, producer, graffiti artist, would be MF Doom. I just admire him so much because he's so free, you know, with his artistic flow and delivery. I like a lot of like old school people too, a lot of Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson and, you know, people like that, like, you know, Herbie Hancock is another great producer. A lot of people don't really reference a lot of the time. I really don't know why. Even Lee Scratch Perry. Lee Scratch Perry is one of my favorites too. Very free flowing with his artistic delivery, how he knows exactly how he wants things, and listening to dub, listening to Jamaican music and listening to reggae, knowing that he was the guy that really kind of like developed Bob Marley at a really early age. When Bob Marley was doing doo-wop music, he kind of like gave him that, just kind of like molded him into who a lot of people now call Bob Marley. We talking about Grandmaster Flash. That is another guy too. I just recently found out about that he was an electrical engineer. He was actually an electrician and created the mixer that all DJs use to this day. You know, the crossfader, he developed that. And it's awesome that he's Bajan, because that's part of my culture too. You know, and I kind of connect that all together with, you know, with who I am. It draws me in to like really get involved into this technology and into this electricity and electrical engineering and art. It's all one thing. The most important advice that I've ever received, I think, is, I would say, do the work. That's the most important advice. If you don't do the work, you're not gonna get any results. You're not gonna come across any ideas, you know, and that's what we all came down here to do. is to do the work. Whatever work you came here to do, that's what that's the most important thing. As long as you're doing the work, you're not doing anything wrong, So that's like the most important advice that was given to me, and I give that to a lot of people too. I would love for people to think about when people say my name, to think about just knowing themselves, knowing their spirit, knowing how free they can be, knowing how locked down they are, and how free they can be and how happy they can be. You know what I mean? A lot of the music that I make is very happy, it's very spiritual for me. And that's the kind of legacy that I would like to leave. I would say the resourcefulness of all Caribbean people to basically just use whatever they have to make whatever they need or to provide whatever they want, and not necessarily always having to go out and buy or purchase from somebody or some other group. I remember when I was growing up, hearing my father talk about how they used to make these little scooters in Barbados, right? And they didn't have wheels back in that time. I think this probably had to be like maybe in the 60s or maybe the 50s or something. So they didn't have wheels, so they had to like make wheels out of wood. They would have to carve them and make this scooter and everything. And I never ever forgot that story. And I actually ended up doing kind of like the same thing when I was around maybe about like 8 or 9 years old. There was next door, I had a friend named Dan, and Dan had a little sister. She had a little Power Wheel. And I don't know if y'all remember Power Wheels, but it was a little motorized car for like children. And for some reason, the Power Wheel didn't work anymore. So, we all boys, so we riding around on our bikes and stuff, and some reason, some way, we decided we was gonna hook up the Power Wheel to our bikes and ride that shit all over the place with no motor inside. And while we were doing that, automatically I thought about that story that my pops had told me. And that was just us being resourceful of something that we had. A Power Wheel that doesn't work now becomes, a jet ski, or something like that. Stay alert, stay alive. Do the work. And everything that's yours is gonna come to you.